What's up, YTBC? Thanks for checking out the video. So the numbers for the Canelo versus Beefy Smith fight has finally came in, and we found out that Canelo is not what Oscar and Team Canelo say he is, and that's a superstar. Because the facts are that Canelo was only able to sell around 250,000 pay-per-views versus Liam Smith. And while they did good at the gate, selling 51,000, it was in Texas, where there is a huge Hispanic population here. I live here in Texas. I live in Houston. So I definitely know what I'm talking about when I'm speaking on this. Is Beefy a bigger star than Americano, more known? I don't think so. I don't think anyone knew who Liam Smith was until they mentioned Canelo was fighting him, especially the Canelo Duck Sauce boys, aka fanboys. Because Canelo versus Khan was unable to sell out the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, which seats 20,000 people, but they were only able to muster up 16,000 tickets sold. So that right there should prove exactly what I'm saying. Canelo isn't a superstar. He's an ethnic star, an ethnic champion, the biggest name when it comes to Mexico fighters. He's not the biggest name around the world. I do believe, and these numbers kind of back up what I'm about to say about Gennady Golovkin. Triple G faced Kell Brook in the UK versus, in the O2 Arena, In 11 minutes, they sold out a fight that no one thought Kell Brook had a chance of winning. Majority of people. In 11 minutes. That's 20,000 tickets sold in 11 minutes. And the pay-per-view numbers for that fight is said to be that Triple G versus Kell Brook sold more than 550,000 pay-per-views. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, well, the pay-per-views were cheaper than what they were over for Canelo. That's not Triple G's fault. Shit, if Canelo fight was cheaper, was the same price as Triple G versus Brook, I'm pretty sure the numbers would still be about the same for both fights. But if you want to go off of that and say that type of shit, whatever. Let's look at the facts. Triple G was broadcasted by over more than 100 countries in the world. Each one of those countries reported back that they had a very strong viewership. Here's the example. In Mexico, company TV Azteca, they reported that Triple G had sold or had 1,560,000 views for the fight versus Kell Brook. And HBO, they had their highest broadcast of the year. I think it was around 1.4 million views combined. And for the guys that say, well, you know, a lot of the people that watch the evening or the daytime fight, which was, I think it was like 800,000 views, they all came back and watched the evening fight, which was around 500,000 views. And that's how the numbers combined. If you're watching HBO, more than likely you have cable. And most cable companies nowadays have a DVR. So you don't have to sit there and wait and watch Triple G live and then have to wait for the broadcast later on in the day. You can do just like I did. You can record the fight. You can watch the fight. You can rewind the fight. You can watch the fight. You can rewind it again and watch it again. A lot of people that watched that second broadcast were probably guys that missed the first fight or forgot to record the first fight. The live fight, actually. That should explain that right there. You know, a lot of you guys don't have common sense, and it's shocking because, to my knowledge, common sense is free and everyone should have it. Let me say that again. Common sense is free. So if you're a hater or a fanboy, please do not comment on this channel unless you're speaking with facts. Like I tell a lot of uploaders, and shout out to T-Rex, facts over fiction is something you gotta deal with. So no matter what you say, it ain't gonna add up to this real shit. Understand me? Moving on. I think we have a clear A side here. And when you put both those names together, like most big fights that's been made in the past, Pacquiao, Mayweather versus Canelo, Pacquiao versus Haddon, Pacquiao versus De La Hoya, Tito versus De La Hoya. You get these 2-star fighters. And I say stars, not superstars, because neither one of them has made it to that level yet. The winner of that fight quite possibly becomes the superstar. But you got to have that fight first. And you got to have guys not pussyfooting around, Canelo, like Canelo. Coming up with all these excuses. First it was 155. Then it's, I don't want to wait. I don't want to have the WBC dictate when I make a fight. So you vacate your belt. The worst thing you could have done, but it happened, it's done now, and now you're seeing what's happening. Now, karma's a bitch, right? I think Canelo is finally, excuse me, I'm sorry. It's finally getting to see what that means when I say karma, because G was scheduled for November 26th on HBO. Canelo was scheduled for December 10th. Canelo breaks his hand against his cherry-picked opponent, Beefy Smith. And now Canelo can't fight for the remainder of the year and looks to return in May 6th on Cinco de Mayo. What does that mean? That means Triple G now gets to take over that date of December 10th. And since the WBA has mandated that Daniel Jacobs is to face Triple G, hopefully there's enough money to go around to make sure everybody's happy. I'm not going to speak on Danny Jacobs' situation because I don't feel he's a big enough star. He can't sell out Barclays. His last fight was in Pennsylvania where they only sold around, 5,000 tickets. But his only claim to fame is beating Peter Quillen and getting knocked out by Perov. But I digress. It's a good thing for boxing, though. We get the, get that Jacobs situation out of the way. Because you have a lot of Triple G detractors saying that Triple G hasn't fought nobody. So I hope Danny Jacobs is a big enough name, since Kell Brook wasn't, since David Lemieux wasn't, Martin Murray wasn't, and etc. Don't bring up Dominic Wade anymore. Everybody knows that was a mandatory fight, and that's the reason why, he had a no-name opponent. Other than that, before there was Dominic Wade, Terry Johnson was the mandatory. Another lower tier named fighter, but yet still bigger than Dominic Wade, but he came up with this magic injury. He's been out since. Hasn't heard a word from him. So hopefully that fight can get made between Triple G and Danny Jacobs. We get a treat to see Triple G more than likely knock Danny Jacobs out in New York City. It's going to only make his star grow. He's going to become a bigger star. So while Canelo and the Duck Sauce boys are waiting around because of that injured hand, Triple G is only going to be getting bigger. He has a deal with Jordan Brand. Has a deal with Apple. Those are two of the biggest companies in the world. Shit, Apple, it's one of them. Other than oil and coffee, shit. People live on their iPhones just like people live on coffee. And the world lives on oil. It's nothing different. And he's sponsored with Apple. Triple G versus Canelo, in my opinion, it doesn't really need to happen, because Triple G is going to continue to grow and become a bigger name. I think and I believe that Canelo needs Triple G now, but he must win that fight as well to gain whatever respect that boxing fans had for him before back. It's just that simple. Who is Canelo going to fight? Margarito? No, nobody want to see that shit. He's not going to fight nobody at 154. He could probably beat some of the guys at 154. He's not going to fight David Lemieux. His team has already said they're not going to fight Monroe. And, you know, I agree with that. But still, who is Canelo going to fight? The best fight that can be made for Canelo, if he's not going to fight Triple G, in my opinion, since he said he's going to move up to 160, is David Lemieux. That's a great fight. That's an action-packed fight. You have a guy that comes forward, throw wide looping punches, and if Canelo is this big, great boxer, the best fighter ever, according to him, or best fighter living or right now, he should have no problem easily defeating David Lemieux. I hope we can see that fight. I mean, that would be a great fight leading up to a fight with Triple G if it is to happen in September of 2017. I mean, this whole situation has got out of hand with the Duck Sauce boys and the Triple G detractors. You know, give credit when credit is due. You know, don't be so biased. Don't use so much double standards. There's a whole lot of other shit going on in this world right now, especially here in the United States, because this is where I live, so I pay a lot more attention to it than this other shit. Let's keep it boxing. This is a boxing community. Thanks for checking out the video. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe if possible. I think I'll come up with another video pretty soon. But again, thanks for checking out the video. What do you think? Coach. How you gonna explain this, man? How you gonna explain this?